Hi, I'm Mike Ungerman of the Central Florida Computer Society. Today we'll continue with the second in a series on electric vehicles. In our first presentation, Dan Edmonds defined for us the three types of electric vehicles, or EVs: gasoline-powered hybrids, HEVs, gasoline-powered plug-in hybrids, PHEVs, and 100% battery-powered EVs, or BEVs. If you haven't viewed his excellent video, click back on the Tech for Seniors video archives. As I commented in my previous series on solar photovoltaic systems for the homeowner, the purchase of an EV is also a major expense, and with prices these days likely to be one of the most expensive acquisitions you make. It pays to be prepared for the purchase of an EV as you research the sales methods you will be encountering, whether direct from the manufacturer or with the vast majority of traditional automotive dealers. As of last year, only 22 states allow for all vehicle manufacturers to sell vehicles to customers. Another 11 states allow for only one manufacturer, Tesla, to sell vehicles, often in a limited number of locations throughout the state. When looking at the growing number of EV companies entering the market, it's clear that allowing only one manufacturer to sell vehicles directly to customers is not enough. More states need to allow people to buy EVs directly from the manufacturer. These limitations and artificial barriers will ultimately reduce customer choice, prevent certain vehicle manufacturers from entering the market, and stifle EV sales and climate goals. Luckily, several states are considering legislation that would allow for direct sales beyond just one manufacturer. A father and son team, Ray and Zach Shefska, have formed a service, Your Advocate Alliance, with a website and YouTube channel. Their videos are both entertaining and educational. We have received permission to include their content in our presentations. Here is one of several I plan on using, this one on the potential of direct-to-consumer sales becoming the EV sales model of the future.
I think this is the biggest story that we're going to talk about this year on the YAA YouTube channel, and it is all about Ford and Model E, and it is not a new vehicle that they're creating. It is a new business that they've developed.
What business might that be?
All right, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
We've been all on top of this for months now. Okay, many states have carve-out laws that allow electric vehicle companies to sell directly to consumer.
Yes.
Just the other day, literally 2 days ago from the time you're watching this video, Ford comes out and they announce, we're setting up Ford Model E. Jim Farley, who's the CEO of Ford, is also going to be the president of this new company that's under the Ford umbrella. Ford Model E is not a new vehicle, it's a new business unit that's going to be solely dedicated to selling and manufacturing electric vehicles.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Why would Ford want to do something like that? Sure, maybe you can make the case that it allows them to focus their energies and hire software engineers and not be, encumbered by the pressures of the ICE vehicles. No, it's so they can sell direct to consumer, okay? That is what I see coming here. Look at the carve-out language for all the different states that allow EV companies like Rivian and Lucid and Tesla to sell direct to consumer. You just got to not have prior franchise dealer agreements in those states. You know who doesn't have a franchise dealer agreement with anyone?
Would this be Ford's new
Ford Model E does not have any. I'm telling you, man, biggest story we're probably going to break this year.
I know you've felt this way for quite some time, that you have predicted this was going to happen. You have read the different carve-out laws and you thought, okay, the only way these big players can do it is to create separate businesses. There's 200,000 F-150 Lightning reservations. Yep. Through Ford dealers.
Yep.
How do you take away the EV vehicles from the Ford dealerships, from your franchise dealer body moving forward?
So here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Do you think Ford's not watching what's happening already? So for example, what I mean is with their own dealerships, they're sending out, I know you don't like me talking about these stupid memos, but they're sending out memos. They're saying stop price gouging. Stop bait and switching. What is happening over at Kia? You can't even buy the Kia EV6 because the dealers don't even care to sell them right now. They're marking them up $20,000. So these OEMs are looking at that and they're saying, okay, we don't love them. From the press release that Ford put out, it reads like this. Ford Model E also will lead on creating an exciting new shopping, buying, and ownership experience for its future electric vehicle customers that includes simple, intuitive e-commerce platforms, transparent pricing, and personalized customer support from Ford ambassadors. Now, let me just flip the switch over here. This is from an automotive news article that talks about carve-out laws. Massachusetts, the proposed law would allow an auto manufacturer to own or operate a dealership if it previously had no franchise agreement with the dealer in the state with no requirement that the dealer sell only electric vehicles. Fantastic. You want me to read the one from Nebraska? Would allow manufacturers to own or operate dealerships if they do not or have not had any franchises representing such manufacturers a line make of motor vehicles and only sell the line make of motor vehicles that it builds. Ford is setting up a whole new business, whole new whatever, C Corp, S Corp, LLC, whatever the sole proprietorship. I don't think that's the one.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. They're setting it up. They're putting out all the fluffy language talking about how it's going to be a better buying experience. And they're looking at the laws that are going to be passed over the next, I'm not saying it's right now, but over the next 5-10 years.
I get it.
And they're laying the foundation for that.
I get it. And one of the reasons that they want to do it is because, well, they want to be able to have a 10% profit margin overall. And they think with the sale of electric vehicles that they'll be able to get there if they have a dedicated business to the electric vehicle space. Well, I would agree that they can probably reach a 10% margin if they cut out the middleman. Okay. In the past, they've built the car, they know what their cost in the car is, and then they mark it up and they sell it to their dealer. And then the dealer has a margin built into it and then can ask for above margin. And get it, then, you know, Ford and other manufacturers have to be thinking, well, if we build it for X and our dealers have proven that we
can sell it for more,
that it could be sold at Y, well, then why aren't we just building it at X and selling it at Y ourselves, and we can dramatically increase our profit margin? So if the whole concept behind this is the pursuit of profit and profit margins, which it is for these businesses, then ultimately, it's going to make sense. And that's obviously the direction that Ford is now telling their dealer body, hey, we love you. And we love you selling our ICE vehicles, but you ain't going to be selling our electric vehicles in the future.
And that's, again, why I think this is one of the biggest stories we'll break this year, because they are the first major automaker. And they're not, to be clear, they're not explicitly coming out and saying, hey, dealers, we're looking 10 years down the line here and you're not playing a bigger role. They're not saying that. They're saying this is so we can set up a dedicated business unit so that we can hire the right people, have the right people run it. But if you read between the lines, if you've been in this space long enough, KPMG did a survey back in December of last year. 1,100 auto executives, ranging from startups to OEMs. You remember some of the stats from that?
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to share them with
By
me.
2030, do you believe the majority of new vehicle purchases will be completed online excluding test drive? 78% of respondents said yes. By 2030, what proportion of new cars will be sold directly to consumers by automakers in your home market? 12% said 80 to 100% of sales will occur that way by 2030. 34% said 60 to 79%, and 28% said 40 to 59%. 23% said 20 to 39%. Everyone thinks that a proportion will be sold directly to consumers. This is a great example of that. This question: how likely are you to divest non-strategic parts of your businesses in the next several years? 11% said extremely likely, 34% said very likely, moderately likely received 30% of the votes. You know what I look at?
But 75% are either moderately, very, or extremely likely.
And you know what that says to me? The question was non-strategic parts of your businesses. You know what's going to be non-strategic part of Ford's business in 2045?
ICE?
And dealers. They're seeing the opportunity to carve that path. They're not going to say it explicitly, but you know, if you read the same headlines we read, if you do the research, you know exactly what this is.
Well, if you're a Ford dealer, you know exactly what it is as well.
And it'll be interesting to see on the buy-sell side, if people try and sell Ford dealerships, how that impacts valuations.
Oh, I would think it would impact valuations, and I would think it's going to engender a myriad of lawsuits moving forward.
And a lot of consternation between that OEM.
The one thing I know for sure lawyers are gonna make more money in this space than they have in a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, so we got the article back on the Join YAA website. Justin, thank you so much for getting that up. Read the article, read the press release. We'll be keeping our fingers on the pulse of this story, because I think throughout this year, and especially like between now and 2025,
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of learnings about what the future of buying a car looks like.
Yes.
And again, this headline from Ford, you got to dig into it a little bit, but if you dig in, you realize, okay, this is fundamentally changing how people buy cars. That's the expectation.
That's what they're,
here.
yeah, that's pretty much what they're saying.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently you might have been right.
We'll see. We got a couple of years to wait. All right, Pops, thanks.
Thank you.
So I want to thank Ray and Zach for their informative video on direct-to-consumer sales. Their report on Ford's announcement is available at this link. As I continue my research, I'll identify those EV manufacturers that now sell direct to the consumer, as well as those with the potential to do so in the future. In future presentations, I'll focus on how to arm yourself if you choose to purchase a new EV from a traditional automotive dealership.
Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Today is Saturday, and I get to have lunch with my wife, and we watch Naughty Styles. That's one of our favorite YouTube channels. Now you're wondering, Naughty Styles, what's going on here? No, it's not what you think. It's a play on words. Nauti is Naughty Styles, which is nautical. And Victoria and Rico travel the world looking at yachts and reviewing them for you. It is a great channel, and they produce a video a week, comes out on Saturday morning, and we have a great lunch watching the show. You know, there are so many interesting people on YouTube doing interesting things. You know, I spend a little too much time watching the videos. However, I do subscribe to over 400 channels. I find it so fascinating and wanted to share some of my experiences with you. At Tech for Senior, we have a newsletter, and the newsletter comes out on Tuesdays and Saturday. So I've added a new section to our Saturday newsletter that will be Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And this week, we started by having Naughty Styles as my first edition in the Saturday newsletter. To subscribe to our newsletter, you can go to www.techforsenior.com. It's free, it's ad-free, and we don't want any personal information about you. It's mostly a communication tool that we can use as Tech for Senior to communicate our agenda. And on Saturday, you'll see the agenda for our Monday show. Let me just show you what's going to happen in this section. So this is the new section in our Saturday newsletter. You'll see it says the best YouTube channels, Ron's favorites. And today we're featuring Naughty Styles. That's Nauti Styles. This is Victoria and Rico's channel about yachts. So each week you're going to find that I'm going to have a new channel on here. You'll see at the top here is the caption of their YouTube channel. So you'll see and be familiar with that when you go to their site. So that's what we're seeing here. Following below that, you'll see the channel name. Following that, you're going to see the URL. So if you look here, you'll see that this is the URL. This is actually the web link to their channel. If we click this, you'll see that we come to the Naughty Styles YouTube channel, and you'll be able to choose under videos all the videos that they have done. And this is, of course, the one that you'll find in the playlist. Now, when we come back, you're going to find one of my favorite videos from the channel. So if it's a cooking show, then you'll find one of my favorite recipes. And I'm going to put one of these in, and that's going to be right next to the one of my favorite videos link here. Just click that link, and it'll take you right to one of my favorite videos they do. And then the last one here is Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And just as Ray does with his music, and we put all the music Ray does into Ray's playlist. This is Ron's favorite YouTube channels. And I'm going to, as we review these channels over the next year, I'm going to put them all into this list. So if we click on this button now, we're going to go to my channel, and you'll see all the links there in what we call a playlist. So this is a new feature in our Saturday newsletter. And I would invite you as readers, if you have any interesting channels you follow, send them to me at this email address. And what we'll do is we'll put them in the newsletter as well. And over the next year, we're going to build up a whole set of great channels that we can spend a lot of time watching. I think that's going to be pretty cool. And even Gail is going to put in some knitting and crafting sites. So there'll be lots of selection for everyone. I'm so excited. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Remember that, like and subscribe. And also, you know, with over 100 million channels, the choices are limitless. So let's have some fun with this, but you can only do that if you subscribe to our newsletter. Keep an eye on the Saturday edition. Let's have some fun. We'll see you soon.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. The side search panel in Google Chrome browser. I'm Hewie Poplock. The side search panel in the Google Chrome browser is not yet a part of the browser. You have to turn it on. It is a flag that's available if you turn it on. So let's see how to do that. In the address bar, we're going to type in Chrome://flags. Once we're in the flags, we need to search for the side search panel. We have found it. Now we have to enable it by doing the drop down and finding enabled and clicking on it. We then have to restart or relaunch our browser. As you can see, we've now enabled the side search. Let's take a look at the side search panel in Google Chrome. We just go to a website. We won't see the G in the upper left-hand corner. It is a side search panel, so you have to have done a search. So let's close this and open a new tab. And now let's do a search for Tech for Seniors and find the website. When we click on that, we now see the Google logo up here. If we click that, we see the side search panel. And what we can do is take a look at another website. Again, it has the G there. So if we close it and look at this website, we can click on the G again. It opens the same search. So we don't have to redo the search. We don't have to have an extra window open. We have our search always available as we look at different pages. Now we can also look at, if you look at the top, news, shopping, or images. So if we click at images, we will see a lot of images dealing with Tech for Seniors. Now you have to remember, you may not be able to use them because of the copyright. And so be careful when you're using any of those, but you can see that they're there. You can go back to all, and you can see all of the information. Sometimes I like to open up another tab. If you open another tab, and you'll see I right mouse clicked and it says open link in a new tab. I open it in a new tab and then go to that tab, that G or the Google side panel is not available. I have to go back to this one here and it's there, but it's not in the new one. What happens now if we go to another by opening a new window? Let's try that. Open in a new window. And again, we don't have the side search panel available in that window. We have to go back to the original. So that's the Google side search panel, which we've enabled. And if I don't want it anymore, I can go back and disable it as well. If I no longer want to use the side search panel, what I can do is I can go back to the flags. You'll see that the side search is here and it says enabled. I can now disable it. Tell it to relaunch. Now it's disabled and will not work. This has been the side search panel in the Google Chrome browser. I'm Hewie Poplock.